All right, friends, this is going to be really odd for showing you my screen, but this was the best way that I could think of. So we are going to check our answers for review for the second chapter of math, and you will be doing your math test tomorrow. So I will share my paper with you. I'm sorry, this is not the best way. Number 1 says, choose the word that makes the sentence true. The first digit in the quotient of 1,875 divided by 9 will be in the blank place. What I would do is I would come over to the side in the workspace and actually write out 1,875 divided by 9. And the first thing you should ask yourself is, can 9 go into 1? And it cannot. So then we figure out, can 9 go into 18? And it can go twice. And that does equal 18 exactly. Well, we don't even need to finish the rest. What place is that going to be? If it was in the thousandths place to begin with, but we moved over, we are in the hundreds place. So you should have circled hundreds. Now you could finish out by bringing down your 7. How many times can 9 go into 7? 0 times. So I put my 0 as a placeholder. Bring down my 5. How many times can 9 go into 75? And that answer is 8. 9 times 8 is 72. Remainder 3. If you finished it out, your answer should be 208 remainder 3. Okay. So for number 2, you are trying to select true or false to indicate if the quotient is correct. And there are 2 different ways that you could do this. First of all, for A, you have 225 divided by 9 equals 25. So you could just double check their division and do 225 divided by 9. 9 cannot go into 2, but 9 can go into 22 twice. Minus 18. You get 4, bring down the 5. 45 divided by 9 is 5. Exactly, no remainder. That one is true. You should have gotten true for A. Now, the other way that you could check the work is by working backwards. So for B, you have 154 divided by 7 equals 22. You could work backwards and check using multiplication. So I would use 22 times 7. And hopefully it equals 154. If not, then it is incorrect. So I lined it up. 2 times 7 is 14. Write the 4, carry the 1. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 is 15. I got 154, so that answer is true. Okay, I'll go back for number C. I'll do division again. 312 divided by 9. I wrote it out. 9 cannot go into 3, but 9 can go into 31 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27. When I subtract 31 from 27, I get 4. Bring down my 2. How many times can 9 go into 42? That answer would be 4, but that equals 36. And when I take 42 minus 36, I get a remainder of 6. So C is false. Instead of 39, it should be 34, remainder 6. So that is false for C. And let's check D using multiplication again. So 412 divided by 2 equals 260. I'm going to work backwards with multiplication. So I will take 260 times 2. 0 times 2 is 0. 6 times 2 is 12. Write the 2. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. I got 520, which is not 412. So I got D as false also. And number 3, Chen is checking a division problem by doing the following. He has 152 times 4 equals something, plus 2 equals something. What problem is Chen checking? Well, we know that when we check our answers, we do the opposite. And so he is not doing a multiplication problem. He is actually doing a division problem. So I set up the division problem. And he actually, since he multiplied by 4, he was dividing by 4. 4 is the divisor. Now, what number goes on the middle? Well, we started with 152. We multiplied by 4, and then we added 2. So let's add 2 to 152. We get 154. So the problem Chen was checking is 154 divided by 4. You could write it out like this, or you could write it out like this. I'll be back for page number 2. All right, we're back for page number 2. I'm starting with number 4. It says, Isaiah wrote this problem in his notebook. Using the vocabulary boxes, label the parts of the division problem. So let's do that first. We know that our choices are quotient, divisor, and dividend. So let's start with the biggest number, 648. It is inside the division lines. We start, the biggest number is the dividend. So you should label 648 as the dividend. And the number that you divide it by in this problem is 9. That is the divisor. In the answer, 72, the answer to a division problem is called the quotient. So this is how you should have it labeled on your side. And the second part of this problem says, then using the vocabulary, explain how Isaiah can check whether his quotient is correct. So like we just talked about, to check a division problem, we are going to use multiplication. And so we want to multiply, I'm using a full sentence, so I did start with the capital letter, multiply the quotient and divisor to get the dividend. As the, and the answer to a multiplication problem is the product. And I'll end with a period since that is a complete sentence. I wrote multiply the quotient and divisor to get the dividend as the product. So we work backwards to check our work. Number 5, Tammy says the quotient of 793 divided by 6 is 132 remainder 1. Use multiplication to show if Tammy's answer is correct. So again, we're going to work backwards. So we're going to start with the quotient, which was 132. We're not going to do anything with the remainder 1 yet. So 132, and we multiply by the divisor, which was 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Write the 2, carry the 1. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Write the 9, carry the 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So I got 792 when I multiplied. And now we're going to do the remainder 1. We're going to add 1. And 792 plus 1 is 793. Yes, Tammy was correct. Number 6, Jeffrey wants to save the same amount of money each week to buy a bike. He needs $252. If he wants the bike in 14 weeks, how much money should Jeffrey save each week? 252 is going to be the dividend inside the divisor lines. The divisor is 14, since that is how many weeks he's going to save. So 252 divided by 14. 14 can go into 25 one time. 25 minus 14 is 11. And let's bring down our 2. So now I'm thinking about, oh boy, how many times can 14 go into 112? Well, let's try 7. Let's see what 7 gets us. 4 times 7, I'm doing a multiplication problem to check. I want to get close to 112 without going over. 4 times 7 is 28. Right, your 8, carry the 2. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. I got 98. I think I could go one more time, so let's try 14 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32, right? The 2, carry the 3. Oh, we've got it now. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So 18 is our answer. He needs to save $18 every week in order to save money for his bike. In number 7, Dana is making a seating chart for an awards banquet. There are 184 people coming to the banquet. If 8 people can be seated at each table, how many tables will be needed for the awards banquet? Again, 184, that's the total number of people. That is going to be our dividend. 184, and we're going to divide by 8. How many times can 8 go into 18? Without going over, the answer is 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Bring down my 4. How many times can 8 go into 24? That answer is 3 exactly. We get no remainder. So 23 tables are needed for the awards banquet. I will be doing pages 3 and 4 in a separate recording.